Hi everyone, welcome to the Laser channel. My name is Greg, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing a product from the manufacturer Flying Bear. So I'm going to explain who the company Flying Bear is, and then I'm going to go into some high-level features that are really unique to this Laserman tabletop laser diode machine. Stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss a minute of this video. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me. The first part of this video, I'm going to just simply unbox all of the components out on the table. I've got a computer next to me and I'm going to read off just some general information to give you an idea and the background about the company Flying Bear, and then just a couple high-level things about the machine. All of the technical jibber jabber, I'm going to leave that up to the product links that I have down below. There's going to be a link to the main website for this, Amazon link, and then some other links to AliExpress and Alibaba. You can pick and choose which ones you would like to go and find the information out for yourself. So without any further ado, I'm going to start unboxing this. You can see that I've already opened this up once before, and there's definitely some really cool things inside of this box. The manual for the assembly portion starts out with this QR code that you can scan with your phone, or it also has the website address, and the instructions are also on their main website. It shows you in detail how to put all the parts together on this machine. It makes it a breeze. The company Flying Bear, I was contacted by them to just showcase or share with you viewers what exactly their machine is and what it can do. And before I agreed to make a content video for them, I did some research on the company and found out that it was founded in 2016, so they've been around for a while. And it was a group of PhDs that got together to make 3D printers for the, I believe they called it additive manufacturing. The really cool thing about having a company that started out with 3D printers is those printers are pretty technical. It takes a lot of knowledge to bring all of that componentry together. But the neat thing is working with all of those controller boards, the motors that move everything around very precisely to make a good 3D printer, a lot of that can be transferred into these tabletop laser diode machines. So I'm pretty excited about all of this. Each component that I'm pulling out, basically they're all packed and they're very tight. All the different types of components have their own little spot in the foam, and I'll show you a front view of that in just a second. So it's very meticulous on how they have all the components laid out. Some of the details on this machine include the work area of 400 millimeters by 450 millimeters. And for those of us on the Imperial system, like myself, that is about 15 3/4 inches by 17.7 inches. And that's going to be about the standard size for these tabletop type laser machines. And some of these parts I've got to struggle to get out of this foam because they're packed in there very tightly, which is a good thing. Make sure that it doesn't get damaged in shipping at all. And one of the components that I pulled out before is a small little filter box with a powerful blower fan on the back, and it already has a filter installed with it, and it comes with a spare filter. This machine in its base form also includes a rotary attachment, and these are the parts that I'm placing up in that corner. And the really neat thing is this top gantry, it's virtually all pre-assembled, and it has all of the flying leads coming off of it. I really like that. It's going to save a lot of time when I go to the assembly, and it also simplifies the assembly process as well. Off camera, I took a couple of minutes to make sure that all the pieces and parts are here. That was an easy task to do. I just went through and marked everything according to what's in the manual. Everything's here. I'm ready to begin the assembly. I'm going to show the assembly in just a quick time lapse. Assembly is all complete. There is only one spot that I found that was slightly confusing, and that was the brackets that hold this gray tray for this energy train. I took a look at the manual for that. It wasn't until I looked at the next step that it all made sense in my head. The rest of it went together very easy, very straightforward, and that includes the rotary unit. I'm super excited to get the machine hooked up to LightBurn software for the very first time. The only things that I need to do first before that is to connect the power pack, the included USB cable, and most importantly, I need to go to the USB card reader and remove that SD memory chip, and I need to install that in the side of the main controller. That's vitally important to make sure that the controller operates correctly. Next up, I'll meet you in LightBurn software. Here in LightBurn, I'm in the opening screen of the software, and the first thing I want to do is connect the machine up to the software, and I'm going to do that down in this area. We're going to see that it's already trying to connect to my Xtool machine, and it's searching for that on COM port 3. Now, when we auto detect a brand new machine, I found that if I have a COM port anything in this setting here, it will not auto detect. So I need to drop this menu down, select choose, and now I can go to devices, and that opens up this menu. It has all the machines that I've already got connected to LightBurn software, and I'm going to click on find my laser, and this will just tell me that it's going to scan all my communication ports for a laser machine. And here it found a machine, and I'm going to go add device, and I'm going to call it the Flying Bear. I'm going to do a 5.5 just so that I know this is the 5.5 watt laser module that's on the machine, and I'll hit next. Where do I want the orientation for my laser? This is where the limit switches for the homing of the machine are all going to be made, and that is when the laser head is in the lower left-hand corner. So that would be the front left corner, and I do not want to auto home the laser on startup. That's personal preference. I don't want the machine moving as soon as I turn it on. Everything here looks good, and I'm ready to click next. This is just confirming everything is set up, and this does have the correct work area for the machine. And the origin is at that front left that we just took a look at. That all looks good, and I can click OK. Now I can come back over here and scroll down my list and find Flying Bear 5-5. And here I've got 400 millimeters wide by 450 millimeters long, and everything looks good. And for the moment of truth, I'm going to hit the home button, and we'll see if we've got movement on the machine. Excellent. That did everything that I was supposed to do, and this thing runs pretty quiet and it's very smooth. From here, I'm going to draw, let me draw the very first project on here. I'm going to draw a box, and that box I'm going to put some text up here and put the laser channel. I'm going to go back to my cursor and make this much smaller. I'm going to place that back inside the box here. I'm going to click on the box that we just drew, and I'm going to hit the radius tool down here. And I'm going to make this a radius of, let's say, 5 millimeters. And with that selected, now when I click on each of the corners, I can round all the corners down just a little bit. I like the way that looks. Other than the box is a little bit too tall, I'm going to scrunch that down. I'm going to select everything and hit the bullseye. That is going to center all the objects that I have. That is perfectly centered. And this first layer that I have, I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to put that on layer number 1. And I want that to be an engraving layer, and I'm going to do a speed of 100 millimeters per second at a power of Let's go 65%. Next, I'm going to select this outside edge. I'm going to put that on layer number 2, and I want that to be aligned, and I'll turn that layer on. And this, I'm going to slow this way down, and I'm just taking a guess here. I'm going to put this down at, let's say, 10 millimeters per second at a maximum power of 95%. And I'm going to do 2 passes of that, which is exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to grab a wooden blank, one of them that came with the kit. I'm going to attach that into the workbed area. We'll make sure that the laser is lined up over that work area and do the very first project. And I'm going to put my goggles on, and I'm ready to hit the start button. Hi. You're probably expecting to watch the beginning part of the engraving on the first project with this machine. I had to stop the video yesterday because the filter fan was not turning on using the LightBurn software, and the machine setup here is that that filter fan does have to work in order for the machine to operate correctly. I reached out to Flying Bear, and they got back to me later on that evening, which would be last night, and offered a solution. I'm going to cover that a little bit later on in the video, but for now, I have the fan running, and let's continue the first project with the Flying Bear Laserman laser diode machine. With the filter fan fixed, the only adjustment that I made in LightBurn is this red outline that I'm doing. I changed the speed down to 6 millimeters per second and kept the power level at 95%. I'm going to turn the filter fan on and start. This is the first project that's completed, and the engraving looks perfect. The cutout, it did it in one pass, and there's essentially no char on the edges of this plywood. Let's take a closer look at the very first project off of this machine. The detail on the engraving is absolutely crisp and clear. Looks very good. The bottom side, there's not too much charring from the back side. This is some of the work that I did yesterday. But more importantly, this edge here isn't all full of black and char. The next quick project that I'm going to do on the machine, I'm going to revisit the EVA foam airplane project. I've loaded the program already into LightBurn, and all I need to do is place the piece of foam into the work area and make sure that the laser machine will cut over that foam, and I'll be all set to go. With 2 passes on the cutouts, all the shapes cut out nice and cleanly. I'm going to get these set up off to the side. With a little bit of tape or some glue, this little yellow airplane is going to be ready to take flight. Moving on to the third and final project is I'm going to run the sample project that is on the SD card that comes with the machine. I'm going to be running that locally, so I'm going to be able to log out of LightBurn, disconnect the computer, and we're going to run that project as a standalone from this machine. This is the first screen that comes up when the machine is first powered up. I'm going to go into settings and find that we can select the language. Mine came defaulted on English. If I back up, I can go to voice, or I think that's an interpretation of having the controller board make beeps when you press a button, the desktop makes a sound, or when the machine is finished, and when the engraving is complete. And these are all options that you can turn on or off. We can go in and from the controller manually enable or disable the roller, and there's a setting here that relates to the motor that is installed on the rotary attachment. Moving on, here's the air filter setting. We can disable or enable that, and with the 2 buttons, we can control the airflow. The limit switches, if I reach up by the machine and I touch one of the limit switches, we'll see that the light switches from open to triggered, and we get an alarm that sounds. And lastly, and I think this is the most important screen in the setup menu, is it tells you the machine that you have, the layout area, the spot diameter of the laser module, the laser power. This one is a 5.5 watt laser module, and it has the machine power supply and the main board firmware version. I have this one fully updated. And then here's the important part, is it has a support contact email and an actual contact person directly to Flying Bear. I think that's really cool that they keep that included right on this screen. That's everything in the setup screen. I'm going to back up one setting and then go to the move. And here is where we can manually move the laser machine around within the work area. We can home. We can also adjust to different step counts. Backing up, I can go into engraving. This is going to be the screen if you run your machine locally from just the control panel. That memory SD card that we put in the side of the machine at the very beginning of the video, that is where your programs will be stored, and this one has a default one, and we're going to be running that in just a little bit. And finally, here's the Wi-Fi setup. And this is finding all the available Wi-Fi connections in the area. It's a very clean layout on the touchscreen, very easy to navigate. The screen is very responsive, and I love the color scheme that they have on the touchscreen. From here, I'm going to go in the Move tab, and I'm going to home the laser head. Once that's complete, I'm going to navigate back one step and go to engraving and select the project that's in here. Now there's two options here, auto mode and manual mode. In auto mode, the machine laser head is going to start at the coordinate system 0, 0. For this project, I want to have the work material out in the work area. So I'm going to go to manual mode. And then from here, I can select where I want to move the laser module in the work area. And each time I tap the middle there, it changes the move index. And I'm going to move this out to an area that I already know where the work material is. And once I'm close, I can tap the button again and I can move in 0.1 millimeters, or to keep this video moving along, I'll move in just 1 millimeter increments. And here's the frame button. And I'll frame the project out. And I can go back and move my start position a little bit if I choose to. I'm going to move it over just that little bit. I think that looks good. I'm going to select the cut icon. And this will ask how many passes I'd like to make. 1 will be good for this. And I'm ready to hit the start button. And here it's showing that I'm at 100% power at 100% speed, and I can change these on the fly. Here's a nice shot of this last project. Nice, clean details and all of the engraving. Very impressed with the results from this machine. 3 quick and easy projects on the Laserman machine. It tackled those projects with no problems at all, and those would be projects that I could also do with my 10-watt laser machine. So the fact that this is a 5.5 watt laser machine, I didn't really notice. The only thing that really kind of stood out is the engraving detail seems to be a little bit finer with this lower wattage unit than some of my other higher wattage units. There's a lot of really neat things that I like about this machine. However, there's a couple things that I want to make sure that you're aware of if you are interested in this machine. And the first one is that this machine, it does have to run with this filter system running. The way that they have the laser shield in the front and the tight clearance between that laser shield and your work area, it's really meant to have this vacuum suction system running. That's why I needed to pause the video about halfway through and get this resolved, and I'm going to show you what I did to fix that. When running the machine in LightBurn, this controller will not automatically turn on the filter system. And all I did to remedy that is I took the connector and there's these little silver release tabs. All I did was remove the yellow wire and I put a piece of electrical tape over the top of that. When I'm ready to run that filter fan, I just plug the connector back into the main controller and then that filter fan will run at full speed. If I'm going to run directly off the controller without a computer connected, I can leave that yellow wire connected in and I have full control over that filter fan. When I contacted Flying Bear that I wasn't able to get the filter fan to come on when I'm using my favorite LightBurn software, they did say that no, the fan will not come on when using LightBurn. They did offer a solution of a signal generator to run the fan. That little board costs about $15 off of Amazon, and the cables are about another $8 to $10. So around $20 or so, you can have a solution for that. My solution that was even quicker and cheaper is just to disconnect that yellow wire that's leading up to the fan. When I plug that connector in, like I just showed you, the fan will run at full speed. The next thing that I noticed on the machine, while having a filter fan is great, on smaller projects, I really can't detect any of the smoke coming off of any of the wood carvings that I'm doing. However, on this one that has a lot of heavy carving all the way through, I ended up opening a window in the studio here because I could detect a lot of the smoke smell. So this does remove a lot of it out of the air, don't get me wrong, but there's still some that still gets out into the room area. Flying Bear does offer a much larger unit with a much more powerful fan and larger filter system on it, and that should take care of any of the smoke that escapes this filter system. The great things that I like about this machine is the standard work area. It's over 15 inches by over 17 inches. That's a very large work area to fit a lot of projects into it. The filter system, it does work. I would like to see that one issue fixed on it. And it has one of the best cable management systems that I've seen on any of the machines. I simply just love the touchscreen that's on here. It's color, it's very responsive. The menu system is very neatly laid out. And should I ever get confused, I can always reference the user manual that clearly explains how the menus are laid out and what each menu item does. And lastly, this machine, with all the features on it, it still includes a rotary attachment. I know I didn't feature the rotary attachment that much in this video. I'm going to show that in a future video so it has all of the attention just on the rotary. It's hard to do one of these videos and show everything on the machine while still showing everything on the rotary attachment. So look for that video coming up in the near future. If you have one of these machines or you're looking at one, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. I hope that you had as much fun as I did exploring and learning about this Flying Bear Laserman laser diode machine. If you got something out of this video, please consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, or ringing that notification bell. Doing any number of those things really helps me out. It helps the channel grow, and it's a great way to connect content like this with viewers like you. Until next time, learn, create, and share.